Welcome back to the Gyrl podcast, everyone. I am Kyra, and today I am joined by Emily Adams. She's a mindset coach, and she's here today to talk about changing your mindset to be the person you were meant to be. So, welcome to the Gyrl podcast, Emily.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about all about mindset and just provide any value that I can to your listeners.
Awesome. Well, before you start bestowing the knowledge on us, let's learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah, so I was actually born and raised in the Amish culture and in the Midwest area of in Indiana. And I left the culture at 17. And for those that are even asking, is the reality shows true? No, they're not true. A lot of the TV reality shows have a completely different version of Amish than what it really is. But I left when I was 17. I actually left in the middle of the night. And when you leave the culture, you don't have a choice. Once you decide to leave, you're out and you don't come back. And so I left in the middle of the night. I jumped out of a 2-story house because I didn't want to have to face my sister who I was living with at the time and say goodbye. And I knew she was going to try to stop me. So left in the middle of the night to go after a bigger dream, something that a bigger vision. Amish schools only go to 8th grade, which is equivalent to a 6th grade education. And I always loved school, and I wondered, what would it be like to get a college degree? That was one of my goals. And when I left at 17, I didn't realize the culture shock that I was going to go through. And I actually got pregnant at 18, and I was not prepared to be a mom by any means. Kids weren't even a part of it, a part of my plan. But at 18, I got pregnant and got married at 19. And kind of a backstory on that is in the Amish culture, if you get pregnant by a guy, you're automatically getting married to them. So I was still very much in that mindset of, man, I've got to get married because I'm pregnant now. So we ended up getting married, and it was to an alcoholic and a narcissist. And that was really difficult for me to see because the Amish culture is a very, females don't have any empowerment at all. Females have no say so. The guy makes all the decisions, and it's very male dominant. So after about 2 years of the marriage, I realized, this is not working, and it's not what I want. And it was very hard to be in a very verbal abusive situation. And I was going to leave, but I found I was pregnant with my second son. So I stayed, tried therapy, tried all the things. And finally it got so bad that I knew I had to get out for my boys. It took me 3 times to leave. Anyone that has dealt with a narcissist knows the mind games that they play on you. And it's so hard to break from that. And I finally ended up leaving. And when I left, I was like, now it's time to focus on me. So I actually enrolled in Purdue University and put myself through college. So I graduated in 4 years as a single mom, working full time, and graduated from there and landed my dream job in the corporate world of working in a leadership position. And I thought it was what I always wanted and what I always chased. And realized a few years later, after having a lot of moments of not being able to be with my boys and going through a second divorce, that I had no idea who I was. But I always knew I had that longing and that desire to make an impact and to be like this voice for others. So I took some time to really find out who I was. And in that time, I realized that corporate world wasn't fulfilling me. I left in February of 2020 to be a nutrition coach and because I compete in powerlifting. And I'm also certified in macronutrition. So I thought, this is perfect. I can do online coaching. That was not in alignment with me. COVID hit, and COVID was a blessing for me and my boys. During COVID, I was mindlessly scrolling one day, like we all do on social media occasionally. And I found a meditation challenge, and it changed my life. It gave me the internal transformation that I needed. And for the first time in my life, and I'm 32, I finally felt inner peace and self-love at such a deep level. And I was like, oh my goodness, like my life was just changed. So I kind of pivoted from that into more the life coaching and then also the business coaching side because I have a strong business background. And that's what led me to do what I do now. And so, yeah, that's the short version of my story.
I love it. I mean, I have chills just like listening to you talk about your story. And I thank you for being so transparent with the audience because I think that, you know, you're owning your story and what you've gone through and what you have accomplished and you've persevered through man so much. and you're and you're so young and you've accomplished, and I'm just in awe of you and the story, and that you stand here today a stronger woman because of all of it. So wow.
Yeah, thanks. I think like there was multiple times in my life where I still say this a lot on my social media, is it's always about the choice. It's about the choice that we have to make. And there were times, especially leaving the narcissist marriage, of I had $600 to my name. I did not know what a single mom looks like. In the Amish, there is no divorce. So I didn't even know what that looked like. I had no idea how I was going to do this. And there was a choice of every single day. It was just, okay, let's just get through today. Like I wasn't even trying to get my life together. I was like, let's just make a choice to get through one day at a time.
Yeah.
And even like through my second divorce, I had to remind myself, it's one day at a time and to be resilient in what I want. And if it's on my heart, I know it's on my heart for a reason.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that, I think from hearing your story and from what I, had read about you already, really this topic of, sort of stepping into your own power, that's exactly what you've done. And, and I think that, it's what you're able to teach women and other people about how to do that. I mean, you're living it and you've lived it. And so it comes from a true place of authenticity and a place where you can, and I think too, when you're still experiencing life. Yes. And I like that you say, you sort of do have to take life one day at a time because it throws curveballs at you. I mean, it throws, like you said, it throws COVID at you. And, and I agree with you a lot. I probably said this a lot on the show, that it, as awful as COVID is, and it still is today, it still has been a blessing in a lot of ways for, for different people and their lives. And I mean, and giving people an opportunity to take their lives back, to take, to shift and focus on things that they should have been focused on, prior, but we were all just sort of like, I think probably 2 months into it, I realized, I was like, wow, it's like I was in this hamster wheel of life, just doing this routine of things and not thinking that we're focusing, but not really focusing on the things that really mattered the most in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like when we realize the power that we have within ourselves, and when we can get to a point of stepping into that, it's like you become unstoppable. And, a few years, if somebody would have asked, what do you think your potential is? And I'd be like, once I land my corporate job. And now like somebody asked, like, what's your potential? And I'm like, I can't put a number on it. I can't like even describe my potential because it's like unlimited. It's like, stepping into who I am as a person.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I really like that you focus on that and the importance of it. So I think that people hear that, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm stepping into something. Like there are a lot of phrases and coaches that use step into this or do this, but it's important, like you said, to really understand that, because when you truly do understand the power that you have, the possibilities are endless. And that I can do anything. Like that's the mindset that you have to have. So talk about the change in mindsets that people that you must have in order to truly step into that power.
So we can talk all day about this, but just high level, I want to say anytime we go to step into our own power, it takes vulnerability, and vulnerability takes some massive courage. It is not easy to be seen. It is not easy to own our story, especially if they look messy. I always tell people, I have one of the messiest, most beautiful stories in the world. Nobody will, it was hard for me for years, I didn't tell anybody I used to be Amish because I would get all the Amish jokes and I would get like all the crazy Amish, questions. Mm-hmm. And then for years later, I wouldn't tell anybody that I was married to a narcissist because I didn't want to own that because I felt like I failed, like I made a mistake. But when we can truly see the beauty and the blessing in all of it, and we can go through the healing process, and this doesn't happen overnight, but when you can see the beauty of it and really step in and embrace that, not only do you empower yourself, but you empower those around you to start owning their story, to start owning their beautiful mess. And really, it's not a mess. It's always growing, learning, and evolving as a person. Mm-hmm. And when you kind of have to shift that mindset of when you have to get over the fear of judgment from others. Mm-hmm. And I don't know who said this quote, but I love the quote of, what other people think about you and judge you for is none of your business. And it does not matter. It is none of your business. Right. And that really resonated of, this is my story. This is my truth. Mm-hmm. It's not anyone else's. And I had to really own that and step into that and stop the hiding behind, my story. I hid behind powerlifting. I'm a very strong female on every aspect, but mm-hmm. it was more on the powerlifting side I would talk a lot about. And now I've kind of changed that to, I'm a strong female on all aspects of it. And when we realize where we're hiding and changing that mindset, the other part of it for me was really being aware. Everything starts with being aware of mm-hmm. my thoughts. And that's really the start to changing your mindset. And where are you playing victim at versus being empowered? And you can't be both a victim and empowered at the same time. You're one or the other. And for me, I played victim to being raised in the Amish culture. I don't know anything about the culture I'm living in. I was raised with like equivalent to a 6th grade education. Like I played victim to it so much. I had all this religious culture programming still that I needed to work through. But I realized if I shifted that and got really curious and asked myself, instead of playing victim, how can I empower myself? I can learn, I can grow, I can invest in myself, and changing that mindset. And that really helped me step into the power and into the person that I am. And there's tons of mindset things you can do, but I will tell you, every doubt, every fear, every program you have, there's a deeper rooted reason why you have it. And when you can figure out how to get that, it's just like peeling back the onions of a layer. You just keep peeling and you keep getting curious. And it's a lot of self-discovery.
Right. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. And I think that is probably the hardest thing for a lot of people is to actually like own the truth of their story and be honest with other people about their story. And I think that is often what holds people back because, you're just trying to, this facade of, oh yeah, I got it together. I'm, I'll da 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 da. And I mean, I just believe that, your testimony or my testimony, like, in order for it to help somebody else, it has to be real. Like it has to be honest. So like, I am always on here, probably too much at the TMI a lot of times about, certain things or whatever. And I always have to warn my husband. I'm like, well, if you're going to listen to this episode, you're probably going to hear where I said something about.
I love it.
said something about like how you like don't like to talk about your feelings and but I feel like those things are important because I think that no matter what it is, like if you're struggling in a certain way, other people are struggling, and
Absolutely.
people need to feel like I'm not in this alone. And and I love that you said that meditation is helped you to find clarity. I mean, I started meditation like right probably like around the time we came home for COVID. And I was like, what is this meditation about? And like Peloton, like I was doing Peloton anyway, and I was just looking through the app and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try this. And it was so funny because in the book, like for the first few times I couldn't because I didn't want to sit still. Like I wanted to be like, okay, I want it to happen and I want it to happen now.
Yes.
When the day that I actually said, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to allow my mind to like stop thinking about what I have to do, what I have to go back to my desk and do for work. And I'm going to let this, like, I'm going to see where it takes me. And it was like one of the most like powerful things and empowering for me, to just be able to go, oh my God, like this is amazing.
Yep. And that's why I say this a lot. We all have the answers to our questions internally. We all want the clarity. We all want the answers, but no one wants to take the time to sit still and to listen. And that's what was one of the hardest lessons for me. Like I'm a busy person, and I used to always take pride in like staying busy and like hustling and grinding and all that thing. And to sit still can be very uncomfortable, but so powerful.
Yes. Yes. And I also, I have to add on to what you just said about that, about being busy. And it was so funny because it's like an immediate, like, I think some people I know used to say like a hit dog will holler. And I would hear that, when it's like, oh, do you just like to be busy? It's like you find some joy in always saying that, oh my God, I have so much going on. I'm so busy. And when you like really take a step and think about it, I'm like, but what does all this busy get me? Can I not just like say on this day, because like I have an everyday corporate job. So I'm working Monday through Friday, and then I'm doing Glow Up Girl, after work on the weekends. And for a while, it was like I was just working every weekend. Like I would get up on Saturday and I would get up early and I would work all day on Glow Up Girl. I get up Sunday and the same thing. And after a while, it's just like, I'm going to burn myself out. Like I love this. I love this more than anything. This is truly my purpose. And I'm so passionate, but it's still work. And I have to find a way to balance out, like finding time for rest. And it was like a couple, maybe Christmas break, I actually like, I had time off from a regular job, and then I worked a little bit on Glow Up Girl, but I told myself like, no, you have to rest in order to be able to like come back refreshed and being able to come back and get going and accomplish the goals that you set. But I think we do get into that thing of like, where it's like, because I'm hustle, because that's all we see. That's what we see around us. It's like hustle and grind, and who's hustling the hardest, and and people like, you see that on social media where people are just talking about like how, I'm just doing this, and it's like, no, I mean, I want to be able to like rest, and it will be there. So I've sort of like been so excited. There have been a couple, like there was a Saturday, maybe like the first Saturday into 2021, I just said, you know what? No, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to pick the laptop up. It's going to be there tomorrow. But it's small, so I'm making like little small steps towards, finding that balance for me, because it's like, if you don't get the rest, you can't give your best to anyone else.
Absolutely. And I also think like a lot of people confuse the hustle and the grind with what's in alignment for us. And I think if it's a good question to always ask yourself, is this heart or is it ego, or is it heart or head? And is it in alignment with me? Because that was a hard reality for me to leave the nutrition coaching because it wasn't in alignment. Yes, I'm really, really good. I lost 65 pounds. I hold state records with powerlifting. I went to nationals. I compete in drug testing. Like everything seemed like it was in alignment, but it sucked the life out of me. And so sitting in that discomfort of realizing, okay, this isn't in alignment. And I was hustling so hard, like so hard. And there was nothing. So when you realize that what's in alignment for me is going to be an amazing, like that's what I'm going to attract. Like I'm going to attract those people. It's the law of attraction, right? So I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about hustling and what's in alignment.
Yes, I would agree. So talk about some ways and some of the programs that you offer and how you do work with women one-on-one in your programs.
Yeah, so I actually have 2 ways, but I'm getting ready to add a third. I'm in the middle of creating a third. The one way that I actually really love working with women is one-on-one. And a lot of that is based on what they need and where they're at in their life. Some of it is, hey, I've got this business idea, but I don't know how to get there. Of course, before you build a business, you better have a strong foundation. So I kind of help them go through that self-discovery process, as well as knowing what is really holding them back, like getting to the root of it. So that way we can work through those blocks and teaching them how to work through the blocks themselves. Because I don't want to be your coach forever. I want to help you get there and sustain that.
Right.
And then, so that's the one-on-one. And then I also have a group program where I lead them through 12 weeks of just an internal transformation. And then my last one, I'm actually in the middle of creating a 30-day work at your own self-pace. So they can log in, work it out on their own self-pace, and they also have the option to have a call with me one-on-one as they work through it. But a lot of that is just everything that I've learned to get me here, all the things that I've learned, I've put into this course for those that maybe can't financially afford to have the one-on-one discussions. And then I also have like a free Facebook community that I pour a lot into, like different trainings. And a lot of my podcast is a lot of self-help, self-tips, and my YouTube as well.
Awesome. Now, your 12-week program, the transformational program, what are some of the, I guess, the pillars or the framework to that program for anyone who's interested in that?
Yeah, so the framework is really, we start out with a lot of self-discovery of understanding, okay, what is the biggest blocks that are holding you back? I like to understand, what is your limiting belief? Where did that belief come from? Do you want to keep it? And if not, I'm going to teach you how to reprogram that. And then we reprogram those limiting beliefs to really get you to where you want to be. Because a lot of times we have this limiting belief, like say, for example, I can't get on camera. I find this common in females. They can't get on camera or live video. And if we really dig deep into that, we have this belief of, one, I don't have value. So that's a self-worth issue. So we dig there. 2, I'm self-conscious of how I look. I can't show up unless I have, this certain face on, or I don't know what to speak. So all these limiting stories, but yet you want to be able to get on video, you want to make the impact. Then we dig deep there on what it is and then what they need accountability. So each person kind of has their own accountability thing I create for them. So that way they can have the transformation they want at the end of 12 weeks. So it's somewhat kind of personalized still.
No, I like that. I mean, I think that's good because it is personalized, and it's not just like a group going through a specific lesson, each time or whatever, but it's that one thing. It's like, what is that one thing that's really holding you back? So I think that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I find like the programs and stuff that I've done, it's good to go through a group program, but also having that personalized one-on-one touch.
Yeah, I definitely, I would agree there. I think that for people to find success, if you're investing in coaching or anything, therapy, anything like that, I think the one-on-one, the personalization that comes
Yeah.
to it, because we're all different.
Yes.
We all have our different problems or, issues. And so it's like when you have that framework that's designed to help you find success. And I like that you said early on that I don't want to be your coach forever.
Exactly.
I want to help you figure out how to get there and how to sustain, because that is the key in everything, is can you sustain it?
Yes.
Not just like one hit wonder.
Exactly. And and it's like, if I want to make a big impact, I know that I'm not going to be able to work with this person for the next 5 years. I want to help them so they can help others, so they can help others.
Exactly.
It's the ripple effect.
Hmm.
So, my goal is always, anytime I work with someone, is getting them there and then teaching them how to sustain that. And
Hmm.
knowing, like, I'm not just going to leave you out and, like, after I get done
Right.
coaching you, I'm still always going to be here, but giving them the tools, the feeling that I have everything inside of me that I know that I need in life. That
Hmm.
feeling I want to give to every single person, because when you know that and you embrace it and you step into it, it's
Hmm.
priceless. You can't put a price on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I do want to go. I want to go back to one thing before we move forward. So obviously, you and your powerlifting. So you mentioned how, yes, you were like, I'm a strong woman, and you wanted to be strong, like just an overall like strong woman. But I definitely, I have to agree with you. I have to applaud you on what you do. But I just know, like, even from doing strength courses, like I'm working in progress myself, but whenever I'm lifting, like I'm doing weights and I can go up, and there's just something about that that just makes you feel like, I'm like, I am strong, I can do this, and you
Yes.
feel like you can do it. Like, it does, just, it's an umbrella, it's like an effect. Like, you're like, I can do anything. Because to me, there's something about being physically strong that just ties to your mental. Because even like my husband always, like, we always laugh because he's like, yeah, doing push-ups. Like, yes, I might be doing the knee push-ups, but I can do way more than he can do. Like, even when I'm like, well, do them on your knees. He's just like, man, I'm just not that strong, and I'm like, ah, ha, 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 but to me, I'm like, yes, I worked at that. Like, I
Mhm.
started it from P90X long time ago, doing push-ups. And I'm like, and now I said, like, I make a point every time. Like, yes, I do cardio, but there's just something about doing strength training that just, I don't know. It mentally, it just gives you that, like, yes, you did it, girl. Like, keep
Yes.
pushing. So I just want to applaud you there, because I think that has probably played, like, a large part in who you are and how you teach people, and
Mhm.
how you help to set other people up for success. So.
Yeah, I often joke and say that the gym was my therapy, because after my first divorce, I wasn't going to go to therapy. I didn't want to go to counseling. There was nothing wrong with me. I just, like, numbed that stuff out, and I numbed it out with the gym. And then when I did find powerlifting, it was kind of like you said, that realization of, oh my goodness, like, I'm actually strong at this. And mind you, like, I didn't start, like, when I first started out, I couldn't even bench 100 pounds. I was barely squatting 200, and I might have been deadlifting like 190.
Mhm.
And I started in 2016. And my goal when I started powerlifting was to hit 1,000 pound club, because there's not a whole lot of females in the 1,000 pound club. And I always had this, like, I want to be an athlete. Like, I want to be an
Mhm.
athlete. And I had a personal trainer tell me that moms can't be athletes. And I was,
Huh.
I'm a single mom. And I was like, oh, I'll prove you wrong. So then when I hit my 1,000 pounds, I always joked that I would retire from powerlifting. But
Mhm.
when I hit 1,000 pound total, I ended up going to drug tested nationals, and I hit 430 squat and a 430 deadlift and 209 bench. And that's when I
Wow.
realized, like, okay, we're again at, I haven't reached my full potential. I can still keep
Mhm.
going.
Mhm.
And there's something about weightlifting. And I don't care if it's 5 pounds or 300 pounds, that like you said, it just mentally makes you like so freaking strong.
Yeah. Yeah. You talk about like just a mind, like your mindset and just,
Yeah.
because it's like you're like, yes, I did this. Now I got to get more weight. So, and that's really sort of how I've approached it. Like I just like I didn't buy all of them at once. I just like I move up and I buy more when I need them. And then now it's like, when I'm like doing something that's too light, I'm like, oh, this is too light. No, I got to move up. And so, yeah, it's just it's pretty awesome. I mean, but that's sort of the whole thing around like having really strong, like good workouts and just being like, ah, I accomplished that, especially when it was something you didn't think you could do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So now we're going to move on to a fun part of the show that I love, which is 5 things. So 5 things with Emily. So they're just some little random questions that I like. I like to explore the inner workings of, what makes Emily tick. So,
Ooh, I love it.
So the first one is, so how do you start the day, Emily?
Good question. So how I start the day, I'm usually up before my alarm, believe it or not. I'm kind of like the 4 or 5 a.m. girl. So I usually get up before my alarm. If not, my alarm goes off, I turn it off. I do not look at my phone. I do not look at my notifications. I go and I get a cup of coffee, and then I start right into gratitude of just feeling the gratitude of whatever it is. Some mornings, it's my boys, some mornings it's my body or whatever it is. I journal gratitude, and it's not like this huge gratitude, like it's like literally 2 minutes, and then into meditation and really setting the intention of how I want my day to go. Like, what do I want to do? Like visualizing, how's it going to go? Like the fun, the love that I'm going to have, the connection that I'm going to have. And then after that, I usually go right into working, and then I work for about an hour before my boys get up, and then my boys get up, and that's kind of my first break, and then get them off to school or e-learn, like we've been in e-learn. And that's kind of how I start my mornings.
Yeah, awesome. No, I love that. I love the but I like that you set time for yourself to and gratitude and also sort of setting the course for your day. And because that's important. So many people, I love that too, that you get up early and you get up before the alarm, because, when you hear stories, when you hear people are like, well, I mean, I hit the snooze and I hit snooze. And I'm like, oh my God, like I could not hit snooze because I would be thinking about the next time that it's going to go off. So I wouldn't be able to go back to sleep. And I'm just like, I mean, don't you just like getting up and like get going,
Yes.
today? But, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I'm all about the morning, man. I've never hit snooze. I've never been one to hit snooze. So
yeah, and there's just something about being up before everybody else is up, and when it's dark, and like when you're like just moving and you're working and you're like, look at me accomplishing all this stuff before people even wake up, and I like that.
Yeah, it's so powerful, so powerful.
So, what's one goal you've set for 2021?
Oh man, just one. So one of my goals is to always come from a place of love. And I can set a ton of materialistic goals, and I have a ton of business goals, and things, but is to how can I every single moment of my day and all throughout the year come from a place of love, because love is really the highest vibration that you can be in. And that's what I want to attract in my life. I want to attract good, loving relationships, and, love is just amazing. So that's one of the goals. And then I would say right next to that is actually publishing a book. So I've got 6 started and none finished.
Well, this can be the year that you finish.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. What's your favorite way to unwind?
My favorite way to unwind is disconnecting from my phone. I'm on my phone a lot in social media because that's how I run my business. So disconnecting from my phone, getting a good workout in. I usually work out of an evening, and then kind of coming home and really just being present with my boys, to the point of not thinking about anything, but just being present. We can spend time with people, but if we're thinking about 30,000 different things, we're not even being present in the conversation. So, and then usually of an evening before I go to bed, I always meditate before I go to bed, because it helps me sleep so much better and kind of set the intention of like how I want to feel when I get up in the morning.
Yeah, I love that. And you just answered question 5. So
okay,
I do love that. Like I like to journal before I go to bed, and I like to set, like you said, I like to set the intention or the course for the next day. So like I might say, well, tomorrow, I want to lead with joy, or I want to lead with love. And it's a reminder for me the next day when things may go crazy or something may go to the left. Remember, you said you were going to lead with love, and just bring it back to the middle, girl. So,
yes, I love that. I love that.
I like that a lot. So, Emily, so tell the audience how they can find you online, on social, if they like to connect with you.
Yeah, so all my links, my social media links and stuff are on emilyadams.net, or you can always send me a message on Instagram. I'm on my Instagram stories all the time. I am Inspire, Empower, Impact on Instagram.
Fantastic. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. You're very, very, very inspirational story. And I think that I love that from what you speak, from your experiences, is what you put into your coaching. And I think that is so pure and awesome. And I think that anyone who connects to you is going to be better for it.
Thank you.
So good luck on that book and getting it out. I look forward to you letting me know that it's done and that you're getting published, and then you can come back on and you can tell everybody about it. And hey, good luck, and much success to you, Emily.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned, everyone. I'll be right back.